Pay attention to the woman leaving the bar in this footage. It was recorded in Carlsbad, New Mexico on March 1st, 2014. This is 30-year-old mother of two, Emily Lambert. It may look like any other evening being captured by the bar's security system. Laughter, lights, people enjoying a quiet night out. But this footage hides a disturbing secret. Mere hours after it was recorded, Emily would vanish, and somehow no one inside that bar, not a single witness, saw what might have happened to her. Besides this video surveillance, the only other clue police would recover later was a haunting, half-corrupted audio recording. A sound so chilling, even the detectives who heard it would never forget it. The footage was taken on March 1st, 2014, in the quiet town of Carlsbad, New Mexico. That night, Emily was there with her boyfriend, Robert Earley, a man she believed was her second chance at love. Security cameras caught them together, smiling, drinking, leaning close in quiet conversation. But behind those smiles, tension was growing. As the night wore on, Emily appeared restless, her eyes darting toward the door, her body language uneasy. At exactly 11:30 p.m., she stood up, grabbed her purse, and walked out into the cool desert air. Moments later, Robert followed. The cameras stopped rolling there, and that grainy footage, Emily walking away from the bar, would become the last known image of her alive. Because what happened after she left that bar would uncover a story far darker than anyone could have imagined. Emily Lambert was a bright light in her community, a kind-hearted third-grade teacher who loved children, dancing, and making people smile. Her students called her Ms. Lambert, but to her two little girls, she was simply Mommy. She lived in Garland, Texas, where she balanced motherhood and teaching with grace. Friends described her as the type of person who could turn strangers into friends within minutes. After a difficult divorce, Emily was finally rebuilding her life. And when she met Robert Earley on Facebook through mutual friends, she felt hope again. Robert lived in Carlsbad, working in the oil fields, a rugged man who seemed caring and protective at first. For months, they talked every day. Emily told her friends she was in love again, that she believed Robert might be the one. When Robert invited her to visit for a weekend getaway in New Mexico, she said yes without hesitation. She packed her bags, kissed her daughters goodbye, and promised to call every day. As she began the long drive west through the endless Texas highways, she had no idea she was driving straight into danger. And by the end of that weekend, her name would be on every news headline in Texas and New Mexico. The journey from Garland to Carlsbad is an 8-hour stretch of desert and dust. Long, lonely roads broken only by the occasional gas station and tumbleweed. Emily texted friends along the way, telling them she couldn't wait to see Robert. She arrived that Friday evening and checked into a local motel near the oil fields, where Robert had arranged for them to stay. The first night was warm and easy. They went to dinner, laughed, and shared drinks in the motel room. Neighbors later said they heard nothing unusual. But as the weekend went on, things began to shift. Robert became moody, jealous even. Small arguments erupted over trivial things. Emily tried to calm him down, but something about his demeanor made her uneasy. Still, she stayed. She loved him. She wanted things to work. By Saturday night, they decided to go out to the bar together, a chance to relax and forget the tension. But instead, that night would spiral into something irreversible. And what happened after they left the bar would mark the beginning of a nightmare. Inside the Blue Cactus Lounge, Emily was her usual friendly self, smiling, talking, blending in easily. But Robert wasn't. Witnesses later told police that he seemed possessive, watching her closely. Every time she spoke to another man, his expression changed. As the night wore on and alcohol flowed, tension grew. At one point, Emily appeared visibly upset, her eyes red, her hands trembling. At around 11:30 p.m., surveillance footage showed her leaving the bar abruptly. Robert followed minutes later, Outside, the desert air was quiet, the parking lot dimly lit. No one knows exactly what happened next. But what's certain is that Emily Lambert would never return to that motel room alive. And by the next morning, Robert Earley would have a story to tell. One that detectives would soon find impossible to believe. The next morning, Robert called Emily's mother in Texas. His voice was calm, too calm. He said Emily had stormed out after an argument the night before and never came back. Her mother immediately knew something was wrong, so he asked him to call the police, which he did. Emily wasn't the kind of person to vanish, especially without calling her kids. Within hours, family and friends were calling police in Carlsbad. Emily's phone went straight to voicemail. Her social media stopped. No messages, no updates, nothing. When police arrived at the motel, they found her car still parked outside, her purse inside the room, and her cell phone sitting neatly on the nightstand. Her suitcase was still zipped. It was clear Emily hadn't planned to go anywhere. But if she hadn't left on her own, where was she? Detectives immediately began questioning Robert. He claimed Emily had gotten angry and walked out after a fight. He said he went to sleep, assuming she'd come back. But investigators quickly noticed something off about his demeanor. He wasn't anxious or desperate, he was oddly detached. They searched the motel room, the parking lot, and nearby areas. Dogs tracked her scent, but it vanished near the road outside town. Robert volunteered to take a polygraph test and failed miserably.
We went from there to Roswell. From Roswell we went to a place called Tijuana's, and we had fajitas, and I had 2 margaritas and she had 1. And then we went from there to a place called Farley's. You know, it was her last night in town.
Your gut telling you right now?
Yesterday I was having really, really bad tingly feelings, and you know, that I just hope she's okay. I mean,
I'm not asking you what you hope. That's what's your gut feeling right now.
I honestly think that she got involved with some wrong people, and she's either hurt or trapped, or somebody's got her and not letting her go. And then otherwise, why wouldn't she be back?
Emily Lambert is your girlfriend, the one that you were with Saturday night, is that correct?
Yes.
Do you know where Emily Lambert is located?
No.
Do you know where Emily Lambert is located right now?
No.
When confronted, he changed his story. He now claimed Emily had left with another man. Someone driving a white truck, wearing a cowboy hat. Detectives knew the story didn't fit. There were no witnesses, no footage, no truck. The man in the cowboy hat was a fiction, a desperate attempt to shift blame. And soon, the walls around Robert Earley's lies would begin to crumble. After hours of questioning, detectives decided to take a break. They stepped outside with Robert for a cigarette, not realizing their recording device was still running. As the 2 men stood under the desert sun, something in Robert broke. He began to talk, quietly at first, then all at once. He confessed that after they left the bar, they argued in the parking lot. Emily had wanted to leave, but he grew angry. In a fit of rage, he struck her. She fell to the ground. He kicked her again and again, until she stopped moving. Panic set in. He placed her in his car, drove miles out to an abandoned oil field, and left her there. When she started to move, still alive, he used a rope to end it. He then tied her to the back of his car and dragged her body along the dirt road to hide the evidence. Every word was caught on tape. A confession he didn't even realize was being recorded. Robert finally agreed to lead police to where he left her. The drive was long and silent, endless miles of flat desert and oil pumps under a scorching sky. When they arrived, officers saw drag marks on the dirt road, just as he'd described. They followed them until they came to a small clearing. And there, under the vast emptiness of the New Mexico sky, they found her. The search for Emily Lambert was over. Detectives stood in silence. One of them later said, "It was the quietest place I've ever been, and yet the loudest memory I'll ever carry. A mother, a teacher, a woman who just wanted love." Her life had ended in the hands of the man she trusted most. But what investigators found next made the case even more chilling. As investigators processed Robert's belongings, they discovered something he had forgotten in his pocket: a small audio recorder. When they played it back, what they heard was devastating. The device had accidentally recorded the sounds of the night Emily died, capturing her final pleas, her voice trembling, and Robert's anger echoing through the darkness. It was irrefutable proof. In 2016, Robert Earley was found guilty of first-degree murder and sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. During sentencing, Emily's family sat silently, tears streaming down their faces as they listened to the judge's words. Justice was served, but no sentence could ever undo the pain of that weekend. Emily Lambert's story is one that continues to haunt those who knew her and those who hear it. She was a mother, a teacher, a friend, someone who gave her heart to the wrong person and paid the ultimate price. Her daughters, too young to understand at the time, grew up hearing stories about their mother's kindness, her laughter, her warmth. One detective later said he made a promise to Emily's oldest daughter. "I told her I'd bring her mom home," he said. "And I did, but not the way I hoped." In the years since, Emily's story has become a sobering reminder of how love can turn into danger when trust is misplaced. As the sun sets over Carlsbad, the motel still stands, ordinary, quiet, unremarkable. But for those who know what happened there, it's a place where a bright soul's light was dimmed too soon, because sometimes evil doesn't come from strangers in the dark. It comes from the person you believed would never hurt you. This is the story of Emily Lambert, the Carlsbad motel murder. If you found this case compelling and willing to support the story of Emily, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to True Crime Secrets. Every story matters, every life matters. Thanks for watching. See you on the next one.